All right, so welcome to session 2 of AI Mastery with Remax Metro and me, Marcus Martin. So after last week, I did have some great feedback. I mean, there's a lot of great questions that came my way. I had people, ask some questions that were, super advanced. So I'm super impressed that people are taking this seriously. And I know I keep iterating with everyone, the importance and how serious this is, and not only in the capacity of our industry, but I try to give you like some practical examples of how I use AI in my everyday life, whether it's my shopping list, whether it's like trip planning, whether it's my psychiatrist. I'm using AI in so many different ways in my life, and I wanted to let you know for sure that, in my opinion, it's not even my opinion. You're never going to have another world where AI is not going to be part of your life. From here forward, AI is going to be a part of your life in every way. It already is in some ways you may not even realize. If you bought anything off of Amazon in the past few months, few years, like that is so AI based, it's ridiculous. If you have a Roomba at your house that cleans your floor, there's AI in that machine. AI is going to become a part of your everyday. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of, once again, try to keep this framed and keep it narrow so people don't get, I don't want anyone to get anxiety, and I don't want anyone to get stressed because, like I said, it can be overwhelming. And I spend a lot of time on this subject, and you don't have to. I mean, I'm not trying to turn you into an AI specialist, and it's not something you need to be focused on. We know what your focus is, and it is helping people solve problems with their real estate needs, right? So I want to try to keep it in that perspective, but I also want you to be armed and ready and understand this at a level that most people don't understand it. And I've done the research and I spent a lot of time drowning in all the content. So that way I can synthesize this down to like bite-sized bites so you can take what you can from it and then apply it to your day or apply it to your life in some way. So that's the point. We don't want you to be overwhelmed. We don't want you to go out and seek all this stuff out. I'll try to keep it real funneled for you so you're not overwhelmed. Okay? So we're going to go over some tools, and we're going to go over a little bit of mindset again, because I think it's important to continue to understand the importance of what we're doing here. All right. So just a little bit of perspective. I came across this a couple of days ago, and it literally started to like shake me at the core a little bit. So there's a New Delhi um, scientist or group that they were given a new tool, and what they were given was a problem to solve a superbug, and there's a really well-known scientist who'd been and microbiologist been working on this problem for over a decade. So the scientists had solved the problem, but after 10 years, they gave the exact same problem to AI, and AI was able to figure this out in 48 hours. So 10 years versus 48 hours. And then not only did it figure it out, it gave two or three other alternate suggestions to solve the problem. And initially they thought, well, it had to know by going out and finding it somewhere or published somewhere. But the ironic thing of it was I'm having the other slide. I didn't put the other slide in. It wasn't published anywhere. So there was no way that the model could have found or learned about the thing in that 24-hour period. It literally took its time to solve that problem. Okay. So that if you take some time to really think about that at scale, that's just amazing how quickly these machines are learning. It's just compressing time. And here's a way to kind of think about this as well. If myself and Rick and Janine, let's say we're in a car and we get in a car accident and I'm driving. Well, I learned from that situation. Well, they probably learned not to drive with me anymore, but I had some feedback because I was actually driving the vehicle, right? So, but the other two people didn't have the same feedback as I had. Now, if a self-driving car were to get into an accident, every self-driving car on the planet learns from that thing. So if you can kind of frame it as it's what the scale of this is and how rapidly it's folding on itself, I think you will understand the importance of just having some understanding of what's going on with this technology. Okay, so I just want to give you a little bit of perspective to set up our discussion. So we're going to talk about quite a few things as we move forward here. The first thing I want to talk about is prompting strategies. We had brought this up last week, and it is the fundamental most important part about using AI models and LLMs is to understand prompting. So if we go over why prompting matters as a quick review, AI's effectiveness depends on your questions Learn to structure prompts for detailed, actionable insights. Refer to your prompt guide in part one for this series. If you don't have that guide, reach out to me. I'll send it back out to you again. It's a good way to start off learning this. And I realize, and I do apologize, there's some people on the call last week that had never even logged into ChatGPT, and I just took that for granted. So I didn't even give you the address to log into the site last week. So for those of you who are starting here at the very, very beginning of this, don't worry. I'll meet you where you are. So if you need me to start from the very beginning of this, I'm happy to. Some of you are in that middle section who are like really starting to pick some of this stuff up and applying some of these things. And then there are some of you that are like, super advanced, maybe more so than I am. So we'll just kind of keep it general for everyone so everyone can bring something out of this presentation, okay? So the second thing we talked about was role-based prompting. So telling the LLM language model what the task is or what they're doing or who they are or what the focus is. So the example would be act as a luxury real estate agent, analyze St. Petersburg market trends for a high-end waterfront listing. So that's the way you would, as a very basic prompt, you're identifying what the role is. You're a mathematician if you're working like on some type of a math problem, or you are a world-renowned philosopher. You want to tell exactly what the role is so it can narrow what its focus is going to be while it's going out and getting information. So role-based prompting is very important and a very basic thing to understand out of the gate. So the next thing we're going to talk about is no shot and few shot prompting. Don't worry about the terminology. It just basically means giving an example and not giving examples. All right. Most of you are already doing no shot prompting, so don't even worry about that. But if you're not giving examples, I'm going to encourage you to, and I'll explain to you why in the next slide. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is chain of thought. So chain of thought is simply just as it says, chain of thought. The model will give you a better output, especially when it comes to very dialed in and very deep type, situations or questions or things you're trying to figure out, or analytics or research or whatever you're doing that's more advanced than just like a simple question or a query. So if you break up your prompt into a couple of different pieces and then let it think and let it do its thing, and then add another element to that and add another element to that, then as those outputs build upon themselves, your final output is going to give you way more detailed and way more precise information that you need. It gives it time to break it up. And what happens is, and what I've noticed, and it's called loss in the middle. So if you write a very long prompt, then what happens is it understands like the very beginning of it, what its role is and what its task is. Then if you have all this fluff in the middle, it kind of gets lost in the middle and it loses some of that upper level. It loses some of that upper level information, and then it circles back and it tries to tie it all together with the last part of your prompt. So if you break it up, it doesn't get lost in the middle because it's little bite-sized pieces to help it to navigate through what you're asking it to do. Okay, so that's where we're going to go. Just two advanced, that they're not really advanced, but they're two basic principles that I think that will be beneficial for you to understand. So no shot or zero prompting. Most of you are already doing this. And basically what that means is the AI is given a task without prior examples. It generates a response based solely on general knowledge and context. So the benefits of no shot prompting is quick, it's effective, it's efficient, it saves you time. It's great for simple queries, just like straightforward questions like, what are the current mortgage rates? Give me a definition of this. What's the best recipe for this? It's just basic, really basic stuff that you'd probably use Google for, but like I encourage you to really stop using Google and use this instead, because there's so many more benefits. I literally made a point to not go on Google one time in the past like 2 or 3 weeks, and it's been it was so ingrained into. I'm sorry, my sister's called me a couple times in a row there. So it was so ingrained into my mind. I always use Google because we're so trained to do that. But now I've really trained myself to be doing any kind of queries straight inside of AI. Okay, so it reduces your prompt length, so no structure or long prompts are needed. It's good for generalized knowledge. It works well for industry facts and definitions. Useful for testing AI's capabilities. It helps you determine if the AI already knows about that topic. Like just a lot of times I'll say, do you know anything about this? or do you remember the Remax Metro brand standard and voice? And it'll say, oh yes, Marcus, I remember, and it'll give me like the list of all the things that has memory about Remax or Remax Metro's brand standard and voice. Useful when testing AI capabilities. And then also, here's an example. Thank you. Here's an example of no shot prompting. This is very basic, but write a property listing for a 3-bedroom home in Tampa. I know these are very simple examples, but simplicity is good to understand the concept. And then the AI's response would be, this is a stunning 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in Tampa, features an open plan, modern finishes, and a spacious backyard for perfect entertaining. So that is zero-shot prompting. So you're not giving any examples, you're simply just doing a query, and it's giving you an output. So few-shot prompting, and once again, don't worry about the jargon. Few-shot prompting, all it means is examples, all right? So the definition is the AI is given a few examples before generating its response. This helps to guide the AI's output to be more accurate and aligned with users' expectations. So the benefit of no-shot prompting is it improves AI accuracy, all right? So it finds a reference point and it reduces the vague, incorrect answers. You have better control over the tone and style. As I said before, if you had a specific style or voice you're working with throughout your prompt, the longer it gets, it starts to lose that tone and style. And I've done enough prompts to see that, where I'll start off really on voice or really on tone, and then it will kind of get real generalized at the end when I want that tone to remain throughout the whole output. So if you do this example, it will actually make sure that you are staying in your style. All right. So more relevant responses helps AI to understand the real estate specific phrasing and details. It's great for complex tasks. It works well for market analysis, pricing strategies, lead qualification, and reduces the need for editing, and more refined responses means less manual revision. So here is an example of a basic no-shot prompt. And once again, I know this is very basic, but that's the point for you to really understand the concept. Write a luxury home listing descriptions, what I should have said. Few shot prompting with examples. Here are two of our luxury homes, where a similar one for a new listing in St. Petersburg, and it gives you a more broad and more in-depth response here, okay? Example number 2 would be a modern masterpiece in St. Pete Beach. This 5,000 square foot chalet features a gourmet kitchen, a private dock entrance, and a smart home technology. And then you go into another example. Now I created a listing for a 6-bedroom luxury listing in St. Petersburg. So I gave it 2 examples of like the tone that I wanted with it and the details of it. And then it's going to give me a better response because of that. So why is this better? AI will now match the luxury tone, highlight the features, and maintain a polished style. So always try to give it examples. I've done like giving examples by uploading documents. You can upload documents, or you can upload images, or you could go to a listing description that you think was written really well. And I've written like my own listing description with my own hand and my own voice, edited it, and then use that as an example to make sure it stays within those parameters. So if you give it an example, it's going to give you a better output. So that's called few shot prompting. Okay, so now we're going to go into chain prompting. The definition of chain prompting is a technique that the AI interacts with multiple prompts or used in a sequence to guide the model towards a more accurate and detailed response. Each prompt builds on the previous one, refining the answer step by step. This method helps to break down complex tasks, improve reasoning, and generate more precise outputs. So determining a listing price, the scenario. You want AI to help you determine the best listing price for a home. A basic prompt with no chain of thought. That's what COT means. What's a good price for a 4-bedroom home in Miami? The chain of thought prompt would be determine the right listing price for a 4-bedroom home in Miami. Follow these steps. Then I would break it down. First off, analyze the average price per square foot for similar homes in the area for the past 6 months. Second part of that prompt, so I would let it do that thing. And then I would add, compare recent sales for homes within a 5-mile radius. I'll let it think about that. Then I would ask it, factor in the home's age and condition, consider the market trends and conditions, and then based on this data, suggest an optimal listing price that will attract buyers while maximizing seller profit. All right, so that's an example, very basic again, but instead of just asking it something very basic like, help me give a price for a 4-bedroom home in Miami. It has to do a lot of things to kind of get what you want by itself. But if you walk it through step by step, it's going to give you a better output. It forces AI to break down the pricing strategically and logically. It prevents generic and inaccurate price recommendations and ensures that AI considers multiple factors before suggesting a price. It's always going to try to give you an output. That's what, it wants to be. It's just like a dog that wants to make you happy all the time. It's your assistant. It wants to give you the best thing it can. So if you don't give it information, what it's going to do is going to just make stuff up, or it's going to do research and it may not be exactly the thing that you want. So the more definitive you are about what you're asking it to do, the better the output's going to be. All right, so here's another example, helping a buyer choose between two homes. A scenario, buyer's torn between two homes, and you need AI's help to break it down. Here's a basic prompt with no chain of thought. Which house should my client buy? Very basic, I know, but if you use chain of thought, help my client decide between two homes. Follow these steps. Compare the two homes based on price, size, and condition. Analyze the pros and cons of each location, including commute times, schools, and amenities. Consider long-term investment potential. Will one home appreciate more than the other? Factor in my client's personal preferences, such as backyard and proximity to work. Based on this analysis, provide a recommendation with clear reasoning. And why this works is it breaks down the decision process step by step. It ensures that the AI weighs in all factors instead of making a random suggestion, and it helps clients be more informed and confident with their decisions. Okay, so I got this bar popping up. Let me get this out of the way. All right, so then here's the last example, and we're going to move it on. I'm going to try to get this bar out of the way again. All right, let me close it down. All right, so here's another example. Here's a follow-up email scenario. You need AI to help you draft a follow-up email to a client who toured a property recently. So here's a basic prompt with no chain of thought. Write a follow-up email for a home buyer. Very basic, and it's not going to give you anything dialed in at all whatsoever. If you use chain of thought with this exact type of task, the first thing you're going to say is write a professionally engaging follow-up email for a home buyer who toured a property. Follow these steps. Start with a warm greeting and a reference to the property they viewed. Ask their thoughts. What do they like or dislike? Provide additional details about the home that weren't discussed on the tour. If they were interested, suggest the next step, submitting an offer, scheduling another visit, and then end with a polite closing and open invitation for questions. Why this works: ensures the email is engaging, relevant, and well-structured, increases response rates by making follow-ups more personalized. That's a huge one, making sure it's more personalized and really resonates with the buyer. It's very personalized. Keeps potential buyers actively engaged with the sales process. All right, so that was a quick atom as far as all of the, well, not all of the, but some very basic to advanced, depending on where you are, I guess, things you can do to increase the effectiveness of your outputs when you're prompting.
Right.
All right.
Marcus, before you move on, Laurie, you have a question. You want to go ahead and unmute and ask?
Hey, Laurie.
Hey, I'm just making sure I understand between each step, you hit enter and let them answer it and then build from each step, or do you do it all in one?
Yeah, I was going to go back and kind of hit on that. You can do both. Depending on what it is, something like in these scenarios, because they're very tight and there's not a whole lot of thought needed for the AI. You could literally just number these in this. You can like number each one of them, like kind of like the examples are. But there's times where I've actually put in a part of the prompt, let it so enter and let it run, and then I would continue adding that way. So I'll let it run its output, because sometimes I want to do like an iteration depending on what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So if you can do it step by step, and it will allow you to iterate along the way. But certain things like this, it's going to do it pretty quickly, and it's going to do pretty much what you're asking it to do. But depending on what the task is, so I can't say it's like a one size fits all. It really depends on the scenario, if that makes any sense.
It does. On the one where you were doing the pricing, I was like, I didn't want him to lose the original train. You know what I mean? I kind of wanted it all in one because I was like, all those things are important for.
Well, I mean,
Anyway.
that's what I'm saying. Like the power of these models are to like what we would think as an average person would be. It would be a lot of information to be giving someone in like one shot like that. But these things are it's such a the level of like understanding in the model itself, it's not going to get lost, especially if you're giving exactly derivatives. But if you feel like it, I would just experiment, to be honest, because that's how I've kind of done this a few times where it got lost in the middle. So then I broke it up into chain prompting and the output was like 10,000 times better. And I entered each step and let it run and then made iterations and continue to refine it. And then you get your final output on that. I hope that makes sense. I know it's a long-winded, but I hope that makes sense, Laurie. All right, so its final takeaways for chain of thought prompting for real estate. It guides AI through logical processes, preventing generic and rush responses, and ensures AI considers multiple factors before making recommendations. It makes AI generated content more structured, accurate, and persuasive. It works for pricing, lead qualification, marketing, negotiations, and follow-ups. So that's just some takeaways for chain of thought prompting. All right, so let's jump in.
Marcus,
Yes.
I don't mean to interrupt. We have another question, Kelly.
Okay. Hey, Kelly.
Kelly, you want to go ahead and ask it?
And I don't have the chat window up, Janine, so I can't see if the people are putting chats in, but I can.
It looks like she says, what if you're using the microphone on the phone app? Can you provide a verbal example? Her
Oh,
audio
yeah.
isn't working.
That's brilliant. Absolutely. It's actually better that way. I mean, if you're using the voice part of it, and I told you guys this last week that I've been really trying to use the voice part of it because it's a little weird at first, but it becomes a secondary thing. And it's actually better, Kelly, to be answered because you were just talking. You're saying, could you add, it's like you had an assistant who's taking notes for you, really. So it is that it's way more powerful to your point, and it's less time consuming because you're not typing it, you're just saying it. So yes, 100%, you can chain prompts. I do that quite. You have to let it think because once you stop talking, it starts to generate. So you just stop talking, then it'll generate, and then you'll say thank you. Now add this, blah blah blah. So 100%, 1,000%. That's a pro tip. Thanks for bringing it up, Kelly. Definitely use voice and chain prompts. All of these things can be done with voice. And that's how it's going to be people. You're not going to be using the keyboard moving forward. So not as much as you think you are. So definitely get used to using the voice as much as you can. All right, so understanding ChatGPT models. So as you may or may not know, there are a couple different models, depending on what level you're on. If you're on the free level of ChatGPT, and I'd recommend everyone here investing $20 into Pro, it's worth it. It takes you to a whole nother level. You don't have to go up to the next level, which is $200 a month, but $20 is going to change your world 100%. So on the free model, I think it may be still sitting on 3.5, and all these are just versions. Like, like iPhone has, iPhone 1, 2, 3, 4, 15, 20. So it's the same thing. They're just doing a nomenclature of naming models. It gets a little bit confusing because right now the most general model that most of you are using is GPT-4o. All right. So, and I'll show you in a minute when we do like an off presentation live demo. I'll show you where all these things live if you don't know where they are. And Laurie, I think I saw that you were still running on Mini the other day, so I meant to change it for you yesterday. So I'll show you where to change it just in case. But anyway, so this is an example of what the dashboard looks like, and I'll kind of go over what each one of these little things are as far as the models as we move forward here. So to give you a little bit better understanding about each, like I said before, if you're running on the free version, I believe it's still 3.5. I hadn't been on the free version in a while, so I don't really even know if it's still there. They may have, grandfather everyone into the GPT-4o now. But let's just talk about GPT-4o. It's the ideal choice for complex tax and nuanced understandings, as well as like doing just general queries. So that's the one I kind of use just for most of the day-to-day things, is the 4o or 4 turbo. So that's the one you'd want to use for that. But if you want to go into like more advanced like type reasoning, you'd want to go into the dashboard and you would drop down and pick one of the O models, and you can see it uses advanced reasoning, and this is fast at advanced reasoning. So that's the difference between the two models there. So if I needed to do some advanced, like a more of advanced concept, then I would use one of the O1 models. And this kind of gives you an idea of what that is. Advanced reasoning might be optimized for deep analytical tasks. The O3 mini is for fast and efficient advanced reasoning. And then it does stuff like coding and logic. And I know most of us are not going to do any type of coding, but that's what those are some of the functionalities for that. So if you go over to this next section where it says ChatGPT 4.0 mini, it's just lighter and faster than the 4.0 model. So what that means is the responses are quicker, and it's typically for things, like I said, general things that you're asking it, or general requests that you have. So that's when I would like switch like a 4.0 mini. If it's just really quick stuff that you need, you don't need a whole lot of brevity with the thinking process, right? But here's the good news about all that. Soon, you're not going to have to even worry about that, because they're going to be rolling out ChatGPT 5. And what that is you don't have to pick the model. You're basically putting in the task, and it decides based upon the task you're asking it what model it should be using. Should it be using reasoning? Should it be using just the quick mini version to give you a response? So it's going to be able to navigate through based upon whatever task you're giving it. It's going to be able to choose what version of its thought process it's using. So it's going to be a significant leap forward for ChatGPT for sure, and it's going to have multimodal capabilities, with voice and with photos and images. So it's just going to be more advanced. So, and that's coming, I believe, I think at the end of first quarter, maybe even sooner, because things are happening so fast. And there's a sprint to the finish line apparently. That's coming really soon, so you're not gonna have to worry about all these models. But in the meantime, that's at least a little bit of a breakdown and understanding of what each model does and why you should take some time to switch between at times. Okay, and I'll give you a better understanding of that here on a live demo. So which one should you use? For general real estate marketing, GPT 4.0 is your go-to. For scheduling and follow-ups, you can actually do scheduling, and I'll show you this in the demo. You can actually schedule. You simply go to a prompt. I have one that says, every morning, give me the local Tampa Bay and St. Petersburg real estate news. I push up and I told it what time I want that to happen, press enter, and it literally is going to give me every single day. It's going to scrape the entire internet. It's kind of like Google Alerts, but it's with AI, and it gives me any updates that happen in our market every morning at 9 o'clock. Okay, so that's what 4.0 does for scheduling tasks. And then for in-depth real estate investments, analysis, and pricing, you want to use one of the 0.1 models if you're using ChatGPT. Okay, so don't get too much caught in the weeds with that. I just want to give you a little bit of better understanding of what each model means. You're going to have this slide deck. You're going to have this video, but you have to go back and watch it to understand them. So please don't get stressed or have any anxiety. All right, so this is kind of what Rick had alluded to earlier. For the sake of like discussion, all you really need to know about is ChatGPT. All right, so there are so many different models out there, and they all have different, just like kids here. Like when I generated this AI image, and it's true, like they look the same, but they have different colors and different personalities and different tones, and just like kids, that some people have better talents than others, and it really is the same thing with language models. The good news is understanding prompting, which is why I'm spending so much time on prompting. It doesn't matter which model you're using, as long as you understand the foundational understanding of a prompt. Whatever model you decide to use, you're going to benefit at it. You're going to recognize if you start using different ones that, like for instance, and I'll go through this, for instance, ChatGPT, it's pretty good with content writing, and it does overall things, well. But Claude, in my opinion, does very, very good writing. So sometimes I'll write over on Claude, and then I'll bring things over to ChatGPT to nuance it and to put it into whatever workflow that I'm working with. So sometimes I work with multiple models. Do you need to do that? Absolutely not. I don't want you to have to worry about that. So don't have to worry about having multiple tabs open and figuring all that out. I'm just here to tell you that there are multiple models that do multiple different things. So ChatGPT is your witty, all-knowing conversationalist, always ready to chat, code, brainstorm. No topic is too big or too small. Gemini is the dynamic duo of AI, blend logic, creativity to tackle problems from every angle, two minds in one machine. Claude is made by Anthropic, which is the thoughtful, analytical AI that balances creativity with caution, like a philosopher with a keyboard. Grok, So this is obviously, and I don't know where you stand on this, but this is Elon Musk's company. The rebellious, no filter AI that thrives on sarcasm and cutting edge insights. Think like a hacker meets comedian. DeepSeek, if everyone knows about the China company that came into the news probably about a little less than a month ago, that was able to put together a model that was head to head with ChatGPT with a penance in comparison to the budget, and then the time frame was even more compressed, with using way less compute than ChatGPT has. The relentless knowledge miner diving deep into data to uncover answers you didn't even know you needed. And then Perplexity. We're going to talk a little bit about Perplexity in depth. The curious fact finder that turns your questions into precise research-backed answers in seconds. All right, so let's move forward with each one of these without getting too caught up in them. I'm not going to go through everything in these slides, but this gives you a little bit better understanding, and I'm going to give you slides so you understand. So ChatGPT, like I said, for the most part, if you're just dipping your toe in the AI world, there's nothing wrong with just 100% doing every single thing on ChatGPT. It's going to give you everything you need, from research, from just doing any type of task or workflows or automating things for your day. ChatGPT is exactly the where you need to be. Okay, it saves you time with admin work. It enhances lead generation and improves your marketing and listings. It provides marketing insights. It can help with customer service. It gives you your personalized touch and communication. It helps you boost your social media strategy, and it can also help with transaction management. Okay, so ChatGPT is your gold standard to go to, especially if you're just getting started with this. So that's all you really need. So moving over to Gemini, that's a product from Google. Google Gemini is interesting because it's integrated into a lot of the Google ecosystem. So some of you may have noticed that it's showing up in Gmail, it's showing up in Google Docs and Google Sheets. They're adding the Gemini component to that and to have this one ecosystem. So Gemini may be something that you want to lean towards if you're using that ecosystem. So real-time market insight helps with deep research capabilities. Google search integration, it helps with client interaction, enhances real estate marketing. Seamless Google workspace integration, like I said, with Google Docs and Sheets. Competitive intelligence, it tracks top performing realtors, price trends, and market analytics for smarter decision making, and has multimodal capabilities. And what that means basically is it processes text and images and video. So it's great for property, photo analysis, and video marketing. Okay, so that's Gemini. Claude, like I said, was developed by Anthropic, and it's really focused on deep reasoning and long form document processing. So it's best for long form document analysis, so summaries, and interprets and explains contracts and lease agreements and legal documents. It does a really good job of analyzing documents. Deep market research for economic insights, highly accurate and reliable. Less prone to hallucinations. We had a discussion about hallucinations on the last call, making it safe for legal and financial real estate applications. AI-assisted negotiation strategy helps agents analyze offers, suggest counteroffers, and strategic negotiations. Professional and compliance safe responses ensures ethically aligned AI communication for sensitive real estate interactions, superior context retention, better for high-end and commercial real estate because it analyzes luxury property trends, investment potential, and commercial lease evaluations. Privacy-focused AI, ideal for professionals, handling confidential contracts and transactions without the risk of AI misinterpretation. Okay, so that's Claude overview. And let's go into Grok. So I heard a story about Grok yesterday, and what the story was they just released Grok 3. And this guy I follow, this influencer I follow, he wrote this awesome prompt and had this amazing conversation with Grok about the status or the state of AI and how it's advancing so quickly. And one of the questions that he embedded in the prompt was, how have you changed in the past 12 to 24 hours since they rolled out this new model? So how much has it advanced from the previous model to this model in the matter of that 12 to 24-hour period? And he was asking, in relation to human years or dog years, like he was giving it a way to really explain from a perspective of AI, how much it's improved. So basically the response from Grok was using, it had this humorous way of saying, well, obviously I don't live on the same plane or view time the same way a human would or a dog would. But if I had to use your analogies, I have improved 5 to 10 years in the past 12 hours. So 12 to 24 hours, it's improved 5 to 10 years, which is absolutely mind-boggling. And then the influencer asked the question because Microsoft just released a chip a couple days ago that's going to take computing to the next level to microcomputer. So it asked Grok, if you had that chip, give me an understanding of how much you would advance in that time period. And it said, well, using that example, I would improve 25 to 50 years in 24 hours. So if you, I don't know if that's just me, that how mind-boggling it is. That's just amazing how quickly this is progressing. All right. So Grok overview, like I said before, this is Elon Musk's company. And the reason why this is a really good model to use is because there's always real-time data. You know how Twitter is or X is. You're always putting the whole point of that platform is putting data in like real time all the time. So there's all this data, and that's how he's able to come so far so fast, is he had all the data from Twitter through all the years in order to help teach this model. Okay, so this is great for real-time research. It's good for social media and sentiment analysis. AI-powered competitive intelligence. It monitors top-performing agents, pricing strategies, and marketing trends in real time. Conversational and witty engagement. It definitely has a personality. It generates more of a human-like engaging content for social media posts and client interactions. It's real estate ad optimization. AI-driven insights help to refine ad targeting and high converting real estate campaigns. A smart CRM integration. It can assist with managing follow-ups, automating responses, and tracking client engagement. And it's best for AI-driven agents, or sorry, social media-driven agents. Great for realtors who rely on Instagram, Facebook, and X for marketing client acquisition. So definitely take a look at Grok. It used to be only embedded into the X app, but now it's a freestanding thing. So you basically just go to grok.com and you can find it. All right. Okay, DeepSeek, we're not going to go too much over DeepSeek. This is the model that came out and shook up the whole industry because they were able to put together the same intelligence and the same speed and a depth of a model that was on par with everything that was already out before it, with a very, very limited budget and a very small team. This is a Chinese-based company. But it does some really cool stuff, though. Advanced financial modeling helps calculate ROI, cash flow appreciation potential, and investment risk and analysis. Real estate marketing forecasts, long-form data analysis, commercial and investment property insights, ideal for multifamily office space and commercial real estate analysis. Better decision-making for high-stakes transactions. It helps agents assess long-term potential viability using economic data. Competitive pricing strategy, multimodal processing, which I told you before. It can evaluate spreadsheets, financial charts, real estate documents, and data-driven insights. Ideal for investment-focused agents and developers. Perfect for agents working with real estate investors, hedge funds, and property developers. All right, and the last one we're going to go over is Perplexity. I'm going to give you guys a live demo on Perplexity because I use this quite a bit. This is great for real-time market research. It pulls live property data, pricing trends, and mortgage rate fluctuations. It has source-backed information. Unlike traditional AI, Perplexity cites the sources, which reduces misinformation, which is something I love about it. So you can do a deep research query, and it will give you multiple sources of where it's pulling the information from. Live housing market updates, AI-powered investment insights, fast and efficient research, lead generation intelligence, helps identify potential buyers and sellers based on real-time activity, and it gives competitive realtor benchmarking. It tracks top performing agents, strategies, and pricing tactics. Okay. All right. So does anyone have any questions before we move on? We're getting close to the end of this part of the presentation, but I want to stop there and breathe for a second. And any questions about the models? I know it's a lot of information. I didn't go over every single I kind of skimmed over some of the things, but you will have these slides if you want to go back and reference them later. Janine, do we have anyone in the chat that has any questions at all before I keep it moving?
No, we
Okay, so let's talk
Marcus,
about, yes, ma'am.
when does 5 come out?
You know, I wish I could give you, no one even knows because they're probably sooner than later, put it that way. Because everyone's racing right now, so things are coming out quicker than expected. So it should be probably by the end of first quarter, a delay probably.
ChatGPT probably knows.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know if he knows, to be honest with you. But like, yeah, they're rolling these models out so quickly because, everyone's trying to, stay ahead of the thing. So sooner than later, and I'll make sure to tell everybody when it happens. And if I hear anything, through all the research I do daily, then I'll let you know. But I'm sure it's going to be sooner than later for sure. All right, so let's talk about AI-driven workflows. All right, so client follow-ups, and we're going to talk a little bit about some things that Remax Corporate has launched over the past couple hours that we're going to kind of help with some of this stuff for you. For client follow-ups and AI-generated emails and messages, market reports for AI-generated neighborhood insights. I gave you guys an example of a workflow. After the meeting, I sent another video out. You get the market statistics from Rick every single Monday that we have coming from Rick's email. You can take those statistics and put those into ChatGPT to create a social media post that's specifically from that real-time data. That was kind of a workflow that I showed on that video. So if you want to go back and find that, maybe I'll give you an example if we have time on this call. And then content creation, AI-powered tools to streamline client and social media engagement, okay? An AI-powered day includes ChatGPT, Canva, Perplexity, and it saves you hours a week by cutting down manual tasks. And that's an example of like my workflow. Well, I'll have ChatGPT tab up, I'll have Canva up, I'll have Perplexity, and I kind of keep those up as well as my email and any other pertinent tabs like MLS or app files or whatever, have those tabs up, and then I'm able to kind of have a workflow. I'm going to show you some examples of that as we move forward. Okay, so we're going to talk about Perplexity deep research. I'm going to give you an example of that. But once again, Perplexity is another language model. I use this one because it has a free deep research functionality. And so there's no cost for deep research, where if you went to ChatGPT to have the deep research functionality, it's $200. Okay, you can do some research and there's some deep deep thought that comes out of some of the models, like obviously the O1 models give you a little bit more in depth, but for extremely deep research, I've been pretty much leaning towards Perplexity for quite some time now. All right, so it's good for market research. It helps to identify emerging market trends, and it also helps to predict behavior, which is super interesting. Okay. So this will be what the dashboard looks like. I'm going to give you a live demo of this, but when you log in, it's a super clean dashboard. And you can see here, I've got the deep sea button that's clicked right there. The deep research button. And that's how it knows to be in the deep research mode. And then I'm going to show you an example of what happens when you put a prompt in and how it differs from like a ChatGPT prompt with no deep research. All right. Okay, social media strategy made easy. So there's several things that using AI can do to help you with social media, all right? And some of these things I'm going to go over in a demo for you, but you can schedule, because one of the biggest things is I don't have time to do social media posts. Well, you can batch your time, batch your content together and schedule your post. It also helps you write captions and write exactly what you want to have in the post. It helps you can create images very quickly and like on brand. And I'm going to show you examples of what I mean by on brand through using AI. And it helps you with content ideation, which means you never run out of ideas. And I'm going to give you guys a tool that I put together that will help you come up with ideas and a quick way to put out content. Because we want to get out of the habit of just providing content that has to do with my new listing, my open house, my broker open, and my just sold. Those things are important and obviously part of the workflow. You should have those things for sure, but you should also be sprinkling in hyper local community content, things of interest, things you have an interest in. And sometimes it's just hard to come up with ideas, and using AI, you will never have that problem again. I promise you. All right, so generating and creating AI generated images. 90% of the images that are in this presentation, I created through a workflow that I do. There is another product called Gamma that can do presentations for you, but I like to keep mine more custom. Takes a little bit more time, but all the images that I have in here, even this little icon right here, I created through generating with AI because I want it to be specifically the exact image I want for the slide. So I'm going to show you how to generate images using DALL-E, which is already embedded inside of ChatGPT. Then I'm also going to show you a cool way to create images through Canva and Canva Dreamlab. And here is the pro tip, all right? The pro tip is, as we know, prompts are important, right? So why not let the model write your image prompts for you, all right? So you get much better images if you let ChatGPT write the prompt for you. And I'm going to show you what that even means, okay? So wrapping up here before we go to a quick live demo, the next steps are, please join me for part 3 because I'm going to give you some even more continually deeper advantages as well as techniques as well as advanced workflows that are going to save you more time. I'm going to show you how to build a custom GPT, and I'll show you what that even is in this demo here in a second. I'm going to show you the steps in how to build a custom GPT. Why is that important? Because you can create a GPT for a specific task. I have one that's my assistant. His name is Pelly, and he knows exactly my writing style, my tone. He knows what I do every day. He knows, so, and the more it has a knowledge base of documents I've loaded inside of that assistant, and it knows exactly what my objectives are every single day. So it keeps me super organized and on top of things. So I'm going to show you how to develop your own custom GPT. Again, I'm going to show you a couple of fun apps and some things I've found that can definitely help you stand out from a marketing standpoint. We'll go over that next time, and then I'll give you some more real-time saving relevant cases. And to wrap up that exact thing is the biggest benefit of AI for real estate is going to be time. Time is the most valuable asset in real estate. AI doesn't replace agents. It gives you more time to focus on what truly matters. Every hour saved on mundane tasks, checklist is an extra hour to spend on closing deals, nurturing clients, and growing your business, as well as personal time for you and your family. AI saves time across every aspect of real estate, from lead management to client communication, to social media marketing, to market and research, even to transaction management. Okay, so I just want to hit that at home to kind of wrap this all up before we go to a quick little demo. Because that's the most important part about why we're doing all this, that yes, there's a little bit of a learning curve. So that takes some of your time. And what I'm trying to do is give you a kind of a cheat code so you don't have to go and like learn the thing like I did from the beginning a year and a half ago. If I can give you 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 tips that kind of flattens that learning curve, get you ahead of the thing, then that's what I'm here to do, is to kind of put this all into some type of a package and be a resource where you don't have to learn this on your own. So don't feel like you have to learn this on your own at all. Okay. All right, so Janine, could you please do me a favor, check in the chat to make sure there's no questions before we kind of keep it moving forward?
We do have a question. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Have you established the date for session 3? Yes.
Yeah, Janine, could you look at the calendar when you get a chance, please? Because I just want to double check, make sure I have the right date on that. And
Yeah.
it's not going to be next week. It's actually several weeks out, so I'll give you a little break for my voice and in these presentations. I know it's a
Yeah,
lot.
I'll find it. Go ahead, and then I'll before we get off this, I'll give it to you. Okay?
Okay, so as you guys all know, this is the ChatGPT. If you don't, I'm sorry to assume, maybe you don't know. This is the ChatGPT dashboard, okay? OpenAI.com, ChatGPT.com, free to log in with your Gmail account or any other account that you have. The free version does a lot of great things, but the $20 version of this, it will take it to the next level. As I went over earlier in the presentation, this little modal up here, if you drop it down, this is where you find all of the different models. So there's a lot of times where I'll just be in a standard GPT or in the chat GPT, and I'll ask a question or I'll write a prompt directly here. and then maybe I won't change the model, okay? But maybe I want something that has a little bit more advanced, any more advanced reasoning. So basically what that means, it takes its time and it does more research and it does more reasoning. So you'll see it's a little bit slower because it takes more of an in-depth dive into the topic. That's what the reasoning part of it means, all right? But maybe I want reasoning, but I want it to be a little bit faster. So that's why you would switch between these different models, all right? A lot of times I've noticed that a couple times I've noticed I've left the reasoning on and I went to do like just a regular task and it was just like giving me way too much. It's because I had not switched it back to, so that's how you change between the different models. Just play with that depending on what you're working on and you will definitely see a difference. Another thing that we brought up was ChatGPT now has search. So you can actually do a live search. So if you turn this on, then you can see it starts bringing up, search, feeds here. So anything you're bringing up or any prompt that you're asking is going to rely on search to give you that back to that output. But then make sure if you don't need search anymore, don't keep it on because it's always going to try to search. What you want to do is turn that off and then you do your regular prompting at that point. So if you want it to search the web for whatever task you're working on, toggle that on. And if you don't, you toggle that off. Okay. I did want to go back over here to the picture on the far right there and where it says settings, click on settings. A reminder to go to your personalization tab right here. So I went to my picture, I went to settings, then I went to personalization, and then custom instructions. This is where you go in and you tell ChatGPT who you are, what you do, what tone you want to use, things that are important to you for outputs. You put that there and it becomes more of your voice. So it's very important. You go in here and think about what your tone is, what your what your train of thought is or things you want it to say and who you are, and save that in there and it'll be saved. And if you want to go back and edit it anytime you can. And then the last thing on this window is to make sure on this advanced tab that you have web search clicked on and you have DALL-E clicked on. These two will go over at another time, but I would have them all on. But I'll go over code and Canva and Canvas and advanced voice at another time. Okay, so you want to make sure these are toggled on. They should be by default, but I've noticed with a couple of agents I work with, they weren't there for some reason. So just go to advanced and make sure those are toggled on. Okay, another tip that I want to give you really quickly. I noticed on the last presentation, I didn't do a good job of this, but a new functionality that ChatGPT has is you can imagine there's a lot of conversations you're going to have with ChatGPT. And to go ahead and find like a past conversation is sometimes hard if you don't go in and name your prompts. Okay, so for instance, I did a search for the presentation where I wanted to find some futuristic prompts from Canva. So I just asked it a basic question and then it gave me this. So if I ever wanted to go back and find that, I can see it's modern futuristic fonts from Canva. But if I want to change that to something else to be able to find it easier, I can go to rename and I can simply maybe call it Canva fonts, or something like that. And why that's important is because now as this feed grows, I can go into the search and just type for Canva fonts. And then that comes up. All right. So that way you don't get lost in with all this stuff that you're asking it. So just make sure, and sometimes I even delete conversations because they're not relevant. So that's how you keep this sidebar organized, is to go in and rename each conversation. Okay. So pro tip. Another pro tip. Well, real quick before I do that, we talked about custom GPTs. This is a custom GPT, and I spend 90% of my time using this because it's my assistant GPT that I built. And several people we've worked with have done this as well. Laura's using hers all the time. So using a custom GPT helps you in a lot of ways, and I will go into the benefits of that and how to set this up in session number 3. Okay, very, very good one to be on for sure because it's a little bit more advanced and it's going to help. Here is another custom GPT you should install in your dashboard today, and it's called My Listing Buddy. All right, so all you have to do is on your dashboard, you're going to see something called Explore GPTs right here, right? Explore GPTs. You click on that, and all you have to do is go to search and go to My Listing Buddy. Boom. And it's going to bring up this little guy here, My Listing Buddy. Okay. You click on My Listing Buddy, and then there's no cost for it at all. All right. And then the most important thing to do, 3 dots, top right, you're going to make sure you add him to your sidebar. Mine's already in sidebar. As you can see over here, I've got him down here right now. So My Listing Buddy. What does My Listing Buddy do? We've been talking about prompts for a minute now, and it's important for you to understand how to do a prompt for sure. But I'm going to show you how quickly you can do multiple things with My Listing Buddy. And I'm going to do a real-time one on this, but this all happened, which I'm about to show you, in less than 2 minutes. All right. I went to a listing, and I put some information in about a listing. Okay. So here is I said, create a listing description for the following listing. And I basically copied in basic information, right? It already knows its role, so I don't have to say you are a listing buddy. It already has a prompt that's already built in, so you can be pretty basic with what you're asking it to do, right? So I put in the information, and then it came out with a response. This looks like an incredible luxury listing. Before I craft a perfect description, can you provide additional details? So it asked me some questions. And then I go in, and all I did was copy more details in. I basically just went to either our Remax Metro website for that listing. I was copied in details. I didn't do the description. I was copied in the actual details. It could be an MLS input, so I put that in there. And then it says this luxury coastal masterpiece is ready to make waves. Here's your listing description in 2 formats. So it gives me a bullet point format, and this literally, I'm telling you, happened in less than 1 minute. It gave me a bullet point format for description. Most people don't like it to be cheeky and all the emojis and in bullet point format. I understand that. Then it also gave a paragraph format right after the cute one here with the emojis. It gave me a paragraph format. And then it says, would you like any tweaks to better fit your branding or target audience? And I said, please create my marketing assets for this listing. And it says, great choice. I'm going to give you 2 Facebook posts, 2 Instagram posts, and 2 email sequences for targeted home buyers. Before I begin, do you have any specific details you'd like me to highlight? Lifestyle, appeal, investment potential, exclusive features? Let me know, and I'll make sure your marketing stands out. I said, no, just go ahead. Got it. Here's your marketing assets. It created a Facebook post for me right there. Then it went into Facebook post number 2. Then it went into an Instagram post. Then it went into Instagram post number 2. Then it went into an email that I can send to potential buyers or anyone in my database, and it gave me a second version of that email. And this is everything you need to attract buyers and showcase your stunning home. Let me know if you have any tweaks. That literally all happened in 2 to 3 minutes at tops. I don't think it was that much, probably around 2 minutes. That's how quickly I came up with that. Do you need to do tweaks? Do you need to massage it? Possibly, but you've saved so much time, spending another 10 minutes on it, you're still ahead. Right. So that's just a quick, cool way to be able to do your marketing assets really quickly. And I did that by using My Listing Buddy. And that's it. You explore GPTs, search My Listing Buddy, and then make sure to add My Listing Buddy to your sidebar. Okay. Anyone have any questions about any of that? I know we're about over right
We
now.
do have some questions.
Please give me questions because
Let me just look and see.
go ahead.
No, Carolyn had just said she loves it. So that's it.
Anyone else have a question before we're going to go about 3 minutes over, guys, maybe 5 minutes. So if you need to jump off, please do, because I do want to cover these last couple of things, which have to do with generating images, as well as I had tabs open, but they all closed on me. All right. I've got this thing that in order to keep my dashboard clean called Skipper, and it keeps all my tabs organized, and it closes tabs when they're dormant. So you don't have 50 tabs open at one time. So I lost all my tabs. Okay, so let's go into, I've got this document here that I'm going to share with everyone, and this time I will drop it in the chat and you will have it. This is going to be how you come up with content ideas when you don't have any content ideas. Okay, so how about right now I go ahead and do what I said I'm going to do and share this with everyone. And then I'm going to drop this in the chat, I believe. Janine, you let me know if it doesn't show up.
I'll let you know. We do have a question from Kelly to clarify GPT plus is $19.99 a month. Yes, that
Correct.
is correct.
Yeah.
And Pro is $200 a month. Yes, and she said that she just ordered the plus.
You're on.
The plus is what I use
Yeah.
on a daily basis, basically,
There are
times a day.
there are some distinct advantages of having the Pro, but I don't even everything you need from the models that I just showed you and the stuff I'm going to show you with Perplexity, you don't need to spend the $200 right now. And there's something called Operator you're actually paying for the $200, which is next level AI agent type stuff. All you need is $20 a month. So thanks for bringing that up, Kelly, because I know there's a lot of confusion on that. You'll get everything I'm showing you right now with the $20 a month for sure. All right, so here is your,
The
sorry?
link is there. The link is there. It did come in.
okay, so link's there. Okay, here's what you're gonna do. You're simply gonna, and I may use Pelly for this, my assistant, to kind of show you this really, well, you know, I'll just use the regular GPT. So we'll go to ChatGPT. So if you're having trouble coming up with content, all you really need to do, here's a list of 50 things that you can literally go in and ask ChatGPT to do for you. And you can be something like 10 family-friendly neighborhoods in St. Petersburg, Florida, okay? And you can go in here and you can copy this and you know what? I think I've already done this, so I could probably save some time by showing you one of these. But you're simply going to go in here and copy that and go back over your ChatGPT. And you don't even have to ask it, but for social media, please give me content on this, sorry guys, topic. Spelling. So it's going to do some research here.
By the way, the link is asking for an access, Marcus, when I tried to open it up. So we need to unlock that so the agents can get in it. And
That's done.
another question Celinda has is, do we need both Perplexity for 200 a year and
You don't need-
ChatGPT or just,
No. Perplexity is free. Perplexity is free. And then all you need to spend right now is $20 a month on ChatGPT.
right?
Perplexity is free. Claude is free. Most of the there are some advanced things you can go to deeper levels, but for what you need for this discussion, all you need is ChatGPT, $20, and Perplexity Deep Research is free. I'm gonna give you that example. So here is an example of what came up just by putting in looking for neighborhoods in the area. So this could be a social media post based upon that question or based upon that topic. All right. I went into one that was probably a little bit more advanced over here yesterday as when I was trying these out. I like to use this exact one on a regular basis because I basically put in here you're a top tier social media content creator. Give me the top 3 things to do in this weekend in St. Pete. And it pulled up these things that are going on in St. Pete this weekend. And I can make that directly into a social media post. So that's a way to come up with content. It's just basically feed your ChatGPT these questions and ask it to format it into whatever platform you're on. It can be Facebook, it can be Instagram, it could be LinkedIn, whatever you're using, you can format that directly into a post for social media. Okay, so let's let me go to Perplexity real fast because I know that was a question that came up. Here's Perplexity, and it's perplexity.ai. All right, and here's why this is important. I ran a couple of these recently. I like to do, let me look at this one really quickly. Okay, here's one I recently ran. I ran this the other day because I was super curious about this. So here's the prompt that I wrote. Please run an ethnographic study on St. Petersburg real estate market, focusing on home sellers, buyers, their agents, observing their interactions, decision-making process, and cultural influences for home purchases. All right, that's the prompt that I put in there. And I would say 2 minutes Perplexity went through 63, this is why it's called deep research, because they went through 63 different resources in order to come up with an answer for this. Then it gave me multiple resources where it's getting the sources from, and all of them down here as well. So as you can see, 60 plus searches it came up to put this together for me, and where it came up with all this information. All right, so I wanted to kind of get a good idea and put it like kind of in a research paper type response. And then it gave me this beautifully written, exactly what I asked for: historical things, current trends, dynamic inventory, how it's changed, what's changing in the market. So it gave me all of this in less than 2 minutes. This very in-depth research paper, type of look. Then it created additional related sources that I can literally go into here. What are the primary challenges faced by home sellers in St. Petersburg real estate? I click on that. It's going to now go deep research that topic because it has a similarity to do with the topic that I asked it for the last one. So as you can see, the deep research part, it's not that quick response like ChatGPT or when you're not using deeper research. What it does, and you can see its thought process here. It's going directly into doing more of a deeper dive into the question. And so it's starting to pull up all its researches and its relevant information. It cites everything. So right now it's already picked up 15 sources. How long would it take you to review 15 sources just by yourself? If you had to go find, if you Googled it and then you said, okay, I got 20 sources, to go through each one of those sources is going to take you an extremely long period of time. As you can see, it's reading through each one of the sources that I identified. And then so it's putting together information. And as you can see how this is working, it found sufficient information.
So Marcus, this would be great blogging content and things like that, right? Using snippets of it for social media or?
I mean, this is, and we're probably, I will do a better with time management next time, but I did have a workflow that I do use this for that exact thing, or for market statistics for a deeper dive into that, or even doing like CMAs or things for your day to day. It just gives you a much of or doing buyer and listing presentations. There's so many applications for it. The world's your oyster when it comes to research. So if you have to do some in-depth research, yes, it absolutely would be good for blogging. There's a much quicker way to do blogs than this. Sometimes I don't need to have this much research. I would use a simple, a couple of simple prompts in ChatGPT to give me enough content to format it into a blog. It takes less time. But to answer your question, this is as you can see, it's way more in depth than would be just a regular query on ChatGPT. All right, and that is at perplexity.ai. When you go to the dashboard on perplexity.ai, you just want to make sure if you don't have this turned on, it's going to do this the regular, like it would with ChatGPT. If you put a prompt in, it's going to act that way. But if you want to go deep research, you go into deep research. Now it's in research mode, and it's going to give you that in-depth analysis like these. This one is 52 sources. I put in St. Petersburg neighborhood insights, find out which neighborhoods are gaining traction based on migration data, home appreciation rates, and local developments. I was curious about that, and it gave me 55 sources in about 2 minutes, and it gave me all of this data in neighborhoods and migration, migration rates to the area. So very, very powerful tool. So highly, highly recommend you use it. Janine, any other questions in there? I know we're 10 minutes over, so I'm gonna
I
cut
do
it
not
down.
have any other questions. We are going to be posting all the information, the slides, and all the link, everything to the hub, correct, Marcus? Recording.
Just like I do every time. I
Yep.
put it out as soon as it's usually as soon as the video renders. I try to get it out to you as soon as possible. I got a workflow for that, so I get it out pretty quickly. I do apologize. I wanted to show you how to do images because that's a very cool thing that I want to show you how to use, something called Canva Dream Lab, and how to write a prompt to give you images. So we'll do that in part 3. So I do apologize for going over, but I appreciate everyone spending time with us, and thanks for your extra 11 minutes.
Yeah, Bill, did you have a question? I just wanted to make sure that I got everything covered here.
You gotta unmute yourself, Bill.
Oh, yeah, I just asked if we were gonna post the link to the recording, because I'd like to see some of those slides.
Yeah, I'll send out the slide deck. I'll make sure, Janine, that document was in the chat, right? It showed up in the chat that I shared.
Yes, as long, but we've got to unlock it.
I unlocked it when you asked me to, so.
Okay, thank you.
Unlocked. And then any other documents I talked about or links, I'll make sure in the follow-up and I'll put it in a drive folder. So everything you have here, everything we talked about, we'll have in a follow-up in probably the next couple hours.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, real quick.
Thank you.
Dates. Marcus's next class is going to be March 27th. And that'll be on the AI Advanced. And then don't forget to mark your calendars, March the 6th, Larry, myself and Jody are going to be having a session on circle prospecting mastery, turning conversations into closings. And then on March the 18th, Robin, Jenny, Larry, and myself are going to be holding a session, Short Sales Simplified, a step-by-step guide. So mark those down. We'll be notifying everybody and look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Janine, real quickly, before everyone leaves, if you have to drop off, please drop off. But I want to just ask you guys' opinion and give you a heads up. So this is a bonus. If you want to stick around, please stick around. If you got to go, I understand 1,000%. So right now, R4 is going on, which is the REMAX conference that happens every year. So they've been announcing technology updates as well as a rebranding. So I want to kind of get your opinion about a few things and also give you a heads up. We've been talking, I'm going to scroll past this and come back to it in a minute. We've been talking about AI on purpose for a very long time now, and REMAX is kind of catching up with that now and incorporating AI into a lot of their tech. So this is some ideas of things that are coming in the future to give you if you guys are on this call, then you're ahead of the know because we haven't announced it to anyone yet. It's hot off the press from about 12 hours ago. So applications that are going to be rolled into your to websites and also into CRMs that is coming across all platforms. So there's some AI that's kind of coming into the picture here with working with buyers and sellers. Folio is a way to keep your inbox organized through transactions, and it automatically shares timelines with your clients. It helps you keep track of important dates. That's going to be built and it can be baked into your actual inbox. Some of you may have already asked me about that showing up in your dashboard already. We'll be giving you more information about that to come. There's also a way to help you better engage with social media, some things we've been talking about with content creation with AI. There's also an AI incorporated into Max Refer, which is to make the referral network stronger. So that's just another thing that came off the press last night. And then also some upcoming educational opportunities coming in April. So to look forward to for sure. And then Home View is a way to stay in contact with your client. It's a way to kind of share home insights and values and things after closing, a way to kind of keep in touch and in contact with your clients. Okay, last thing I want to ask, what is everyone's first thought about the new branding? And you guys can unmute and tell me what your thoughts are. Woohoo! Rick seems to be excited about it.
Wow. What do you guys think? Unmute. Let's hear what your comments are on it.
Personally, not a big fan.
Yeah.
A little too abstract. I mean, I don't know. I mean, REMAX has built up so much time with their logo and everything. I feel like something's getting lost.
Anyone
I
else?
think it's going to look a lot better on social media. I think that's the reason they're doing it. I don't know if I just saw it last night, so my personal opinion, I don't know what my personal opinion is, but I do think it's going to look better on social media, and I think that's the reason they're doing it and trying to make it more fresh and more desirable to the youth. But
It
I'm not sure if I like it or not, to be honest with you. That's my personal opinion.
Well, yeah, I'm just going to piggyback on what Rick said. The reason for this, and the thing about doing a rebrand like this, refresh, like the amount of research and market research and statistics and analytics and groups and obviously they didn't poll every agent in the company, you know, but they definitely probably had some focus groups and all of those things. So for them to land on this, there had to be some type of, you know, distinct advantage that they saw based upon the data presented, but it tends to work better in the digital realm, which is what we're moving towards. My first thought was when I saw it though, it reminded me of Pepsi for some reason. I'm like, that's Pepsi, not Remax, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I don't know who like sat in the room was like, no one said that in the group. It's like, I think we're going to mix our brands up with Pepsi, and Pepsi is definitely second to
It
Pepsi.
kind of reminds me of Pac-Man.
Pac-Man too. Yeah, I get it. But anyway, whatever it is, we're gonna roll with it. It is what it is. If it's made this far for them to be rolling it out, it's a done deal. So
Yeah.
no matter what the group has said, or no matter what our opinions are, this is what the new thing is. So we just have to embrace it the best we can. Build your personal brand as well. You know, pairing this next to our Remax Metro brand, and we'll see where it rolls. You know, the decision has already been made. So I just want to give you guys an update. We're going to be rebranding all of our assets internally, signage, you know, websites, all this stuff's happening soon with this new logo. So I don't want you to be caught off guard, but I appreciate your feedback. And there's more to come with all the rollouts, and we'll make sure to stay on top of it and do the deep dive so you don't have to. I've already kind of started doing some deep diving to kind of get us prepared for presentations without overwhelming you. So 18 minutes over. Just want to share that with you guys.
Appreciate all the information. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.